and welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show. Thank you for tuning in to this particular topic on this particular day. And I'm going to jump right in. I'm talking today about something that really leaves me vulnerable and expresses some heartfelt thoughts based on an experience that I just had. And I'm thinking that some of you may be able to relate to it. And if you cannot relate personally now, you would at least be able to get a message or a lesson out of it that you can apply to something that may come down the road for you at some point. So again, it's an emotional kind of topic, and that's what I mean when I say I'm leaving myself vulnerable. I'm going to start by just telling you what happened last week, which actually began before last week, but culminated last week. I, several months ago, had received an inbox, a direct message via Instagram. And it appeared to be from someone I went to college with, who at one point was even my roommate or my suite mate. We had a suite with 2 different rooms, so 4 of us were there. And we, have been in touch here and there over the years. We were Facebook friends at one point, but then at some point she had unfriended me because she didn't really care for my political perspective. And that's okay. I mean, we touched base after that. No, all was well. It's just that she just didn't like seeing those posts pop up and all that. And it was one of those things where it was like, well, I'm sorry you felt you needed to unfriend me, but I love you. And her, I love you too. And it's just one of those things, it just happened. But all was well. But I had gotten an Instagram direct message, and I wasn't sure it was her. It simply said something like, "Hey, pretty lady, give me a call," or something like that. And I think the phone number. And, you get all these weird messages sometimes, and you don't know what's what. You don't know if someone's been hacked. You haven't been communicating with them on that social media platform. You just don't know. So I looked at it, and I really didn't feel comfortable. I went back to what was shown as the profile, and I'm like, I'm not really sure this is her, just call me and nothing else. So I just ignored it. And then sometime later, I got another message. Hey, I'd like to talk to you. Give me a call. And again, when I looked at the profile, I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was this person, and I wasn't comfortable. I didn't want to be one of those people who fell prey to, some kind of hacking or whatever. So I sort of ignored it. And then I think I might have gotten one more. I just know at some point I said, I need to kind of follow up on this, but I don't want to go through Instagram because I'm not sure I can trust this, because I have never communicated with her via Instagram, nor do I see anything on there where she has posted stuff. So I wasn't comfortable. So yeah, I did get another message, and she mentioned a friend of ours who was also a roommate in that suite. And this was recently, where she said that that this particular friend was very sick. She's like, I need to speak with you. She's very sick. And she named our friend. And at that point I said, maybe I should go over to Facebook. We're not friends, but you could at least leave a message for them to be able to accept it or not accept it. And I can see what's going on. So I did that. I went to Facebook and I sent a message, and I explained, I said, I've gotten some messages from you, supposedly from you. I'm not sure it's you, over there at Instagram. And I just want to make sure. And so I got a reply at some point that said that it was, that she did send the messages, but she said, I'm not on Instagram. So I don't know how that works. I know Facebook is tied to Instagram. And so, maybe she sent it through Facebook and it came to Instagram. I have no idea, but she said, I'm not on Instagram, but yes, it was me. And, I need you to give me a call. And again, this friend, I think she mentioned again, the friend being sick. So when I responded, I said that I was going to, and I didn't respond right away. And so again, I'm being vulnerable here. I didn't respond right away, But I did respond, and I had been praying. Obviously, she said the friend was sick. So I was praying, even though I had not responded. I was praying for this friend. I didn't know what the situation was, but I wanted to pray. So I had been praying. And then I reached out and I said, I plan to give you a call this weekend. And that was my plan, to give her a call that weekend. I said, I might even be able to give you a call on Thursday. That didn't work out. So my plan was to call that weekend. Saturday went by. I work on the weekends as well. Saturday went by. And so I said, Sunday, I'm on my way to church. And Sunday, I'm saying to myself, I need to make sure I make this phone call. Our friend is sick. This friend is reaching out to me. She's saying, I need you to call me. I need to make a call. So that was Sunday. I believe I was on my way to church. I was in my car and I had this thought. And the thought was, you know what, Adrienne, you don't know what's going on. She's trying to reach you. She's telling you your friend is sick. You would hate to miss giving her a call. And then you find out that this friend passes away. Even though, again, I'd been praying, even though I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know the extent of any sickness or anything like that. But that thought hit me. It was like, you need to make sure you call, because it would be horrible if you did not call. You needed to call, and then this friend is very, very sick and passes away. So I intended to call that Sunday when I returned home from church. Well, when I got home from church, I ended up falling asleep on the couch at some point, still intending to give her a call. But I fell asleep on the couch for a long time. Woke up. It's the evening. I have to call my aunt. I have to record for my podcast. I'm thinking I have to do this, and I'm looking at the time. She's on Eastern. I'm on Central. It's late. So I say to myself, okay, Adrienne, you will call tomorrow. Try to find a time to call tomorrow during the day while you're working. Try to squeeze it in. So I let Sunday go. I did not call, even though I had that thought earlier. Well, Monday comes, I start work, I'm doing work, I'm multitasking. It doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to fit in a call during the day. So I say to myself, all right, after work, make sure you call. Now, even when I thought to call during the day, I haven't communicated with her for years regularly, so I have no idea if she's working during the day or what, but I was going to give it a try. It didn't work out for that to happen. So I said, after work, make sure, Adrienne, that you call. Well, right as I get off work, as work is just about over, I believe, I noticed that on Facebook that I had this notification, and it was a post, but it took me to a comment that just had my name in it. So I scroll up to read what the post is. And it was a post from someone else we went to college with, stating that this friend who was very sick had passed away. And then reading the comments, I learned that the friend passed away the night before, Sunday night. First of all, my heart was broken because this friend passed away. I mean, this was someone from, that I knew in college, that we were close in college. And as I said, we were roommates, or suite mates rather. We lived in the same suite in college. We didn't stay in touch, throughout the years, just here and there, a like or something like that on a Facebook post. And the most recent time I had communicated with her was in February, because her birthday was in February. And so I had posted on her a happy birthday on her Facebook page and asked her how she was doing. And she said that she was fine. I kind of joked, if we were still in college, I would order you a cake from the student union and we would celebrate, because that's what all of our friends would do. And I said, I asked her how she was, and she said she was fine. And she's like, but I'm an empty nester. And, everything seemed fine. But as far as communicating regularly, we really did not, at all for many, many years. But, she passed away, and I was tagged in that post. And of course, number one, I was very, very heartbroken that my friend was gone. I just couldn't wrap my brain around that. But of course, right along with that thought was thought number 2, which was, Adrian, you never made the phone call to the other friend. You never made the phone call, and you had every intention in the last few days to do it, even that very day, to make the call, but you never made it. Even having the thought on Sunday, you never know if she passes away, and you never made the phone call to find out what the other friend was going to tell you concerning her, it's going to not be a good thing. And it was not a good thing because I missed the call. I said I was going to call that weekend. On Sunday, it really hit me. I dropped the ball. I had every intention of calling shortly before I got that message, but she had already passed away the night before. And I'm just going, God, how did I not make that call? I don't know what the call was. I don't know what the other friend wanted to tell me. I don't know if she was just struggling with our friend being sick and just wanted some support, or if my friend who passed away, if there was some kind of special request that she, for me to meet for that particular friend, meaning meet a particular request. I don't know. And I'm just thinking, I don't know how important this was. All I know was that I should have made the phone call. All I know is that I fell asleep on the couch on Sunday. I had every excuse in the world to wait till the next day, even though there was that prompting. And man, I'm being vulnerable because it's a situation where I'm certainly it's not sometimes we've got these stories where we kind of come in and save the day, and and something great happens because we were obedient to something we felt to do, but I don't have that story today. My story is the complete opposite. My story is that I did not reach out and make the phone call. That's my story. My story is that I don't know if this particular friend had been asking for me. I don't know. I don't know if she wanted me. Again, I was praying for her, but I don't know if she, I don't know. I don't know. And that's the point. I don't know. And yet there was that voice, that inner voice the day before, and I ignored it. Now, granted, months before, I wasn't sure who was who and if it was really her, but then I found out. I still waited. And then when I'm going to make the call, I don't make it. And it just hurt. And so I was telling another friend of mine, and she was like, Adrian, you can't kick yourself over it, And at the same time, I said, yeah, we have these situations. I'm not God, but. And so I'm not God. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. But man, to me, this was a huge drop of the ball, to use a light term, in an unlight situation. And I blew it. And I said, although, yes, I have to forgive myself, just as you have to forgive yourself if you've ever been in a situation where you should have done something and you didn't do it, and it had lasting, or at least it had ramifications, or, that you can't change, and you may have had those, and you've got to forgive yourself as well. But at the same time, I had to say to myself, yeah, you have to forgive yourself, and you didn't know, and this and that, but we've got to it can't happen again. It can't be just, well, I forgive myself, I'm human, and just move on. There's got to be something lasting there that says, Adrian, you're a woman of God, you're a Christian, you hear from God, God prompts you, God speaks to you. You always say you want to hear the voice of God, and then you fell asleep, literally, and so then I had to gather enough courage, if you will, to reach out to the friend who was the one who was trying to get me to call her pertaining to the friend who passed away. And I'm nervous about reaching out to her because I said I was going to call this past weekend, and now it's Monday and I didn't. So I send her an inbox, and I'm just like, I am so sorry. I just heard. I sent that inbox on Facebook. And so I'm like, I am so sorry. And I was going to call you today, I said. And I had texted her as well. And so I commented either in the Facebook direct message or in the text that I had reached out on the other platform. So I could see that she had read my text message, but she didn't respond to the text message. So again, gathering courage, I called and imagine how I felt, because I should have called before, but now I'm calling after she passes away, after our friend passes away. But I make the phone call. She does answer the phone. She sounds distraught, and she doesn't really sound like she's able to talk. In fact, she wasn't able to talk, and I just said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And she was, she was torn up. She was crying, and then she simply said, it was sort of like, I can't, can I give you a call back? And I said, yes. I said yes. And it's been a week now, and she hasn't called me back. And so I don't know if she didn't call back because she just too distraught about the whole situation. I don't know if she hasn't called me back because she's disappointed that I didn't call her when I should have called her, and she's just not ready to talk. I don't know. At some point I'll reach out again, but I just wanted to give her some space and some time. But she didn't call back. So and I again, I didn't call her. And our friend passed away, and I don't know at this point what this friend was going to say when she called me. If our friend needed something, if maybe she needed something, if she needed support, if she was going to say, "Hey, can you just pray right now on the phone can you just," I don't know, or our friend needs you to speak God into her life, or I don't know. I don't know where she was there in terms of her walk with God or anything like that. I see some scriptures that she had posted some time ago on her Facebook page, and so that makes my heart hope, and so that's a positive thing. So, but it's not for me to know all those things anyway, except to the extent that maybe God wanted to do something there in terms of me being able to speak in her life or something, or my friend who was reaching out to me wanting me to speak into her life or to assist in some way. I don't know. So you hear me saying, I don't know, and you hear all the questions that I have. And that's my point in this particular podcast, which again leaves me vulnerable because I missed it. And I said I cried out to the Lord, and I'm like asking God to forgive me. And I don't ever want to I don't want to miss, it's one thing when you miss something minor in life. We all drop the ball here and there. Oh, man, I forgot to buy you a Christmas present, or, I forgot to show up at your birthday party. Something came up and it totally, that's one thing. But when we start talking about somebody reaching out because of something so serious as somebody, when I didn't know at first, but then when I knew that she was ill, that I should have called. And I didn't, and I can't change it. And apologizing doesn't change it. And again, I'm not God. God is God, and He's not relying on Adrian to be the end all and be all. But whatever He is entrusting me with, I want to be faithful. And so I want to say, number one, I just wanted to be vulnerable and share. But I also wanted to say to all of us that when God prompts us, sometimes it's just, pray for someone. It's not a phone call. It's just you feel, pray for someone. It might call someone, drop off something to someone's house, and you don't necessarily understand it. You don't necessarily have to have all the answers, but can you be obedient to it? Can I be obedient to it? Something as simple as a phone call, and I missed it. And it's one thing, we miss calls. We're busy, right? We don't always make a phone call or whatever, but it wasn't like I wasn't prompted. I was prompted that, you know what? It's going to be bad. It's going to not be a good situation for you if you, internally, or otherwise, even if you don't make the call the same day, earlier that day. So I had the prompting, and that's what I'm saying. God prompts us so often with various things. and we ignore it because we're distracted or we're sleepy or I got to record this or I got to make dinner and then I'll do it tomorrow. But work is really busy. So I'll do it after work and then boom. I'm sorry. You read you read that it's over. So although, as my friend said, you got to forgive yourself. I know it hurts, but you've got to forgive yourself. I do. I have. And at the same time, as I said to her, we can't have situations where it's just like, oh, you got to forgive yourself. And then you don't learn anything from it. And the next thing you know, there it is again. And there it is again. And there it is again. So in this rather, I guess, deep, sad subject of a podcast, there is hope because God is so patient with us. He's so loving and he is so forgiving and he wants us to forgive him. He wants us not to forgive him, but he wants us to forgive ourselves and to trust him and to grow from it. Because if all this amounts to what? You forgive yourself, Adrian, and then you don't learn from it so that if it comes up again, if you don't respond to it with obedience and with a hearing spiritual ear, then what's it all for? We've got to learn, we've got to grow, and we've got to be obedient to the Spirit of God. And so to do that, we got to be sensitive to God. Those of us, and I'm talking specifically those of us who know God, those of us who have a relationship with God. And I do hear from God. God does speak to me, and God, does use me and allow me to be a blessing to other people. That's what I'm praying about, right? So if I'm praying about it, I'm praying about this, and then God trusts me with something and even prompts me, and I can hear him, and then I don't do it, then why should he trust me? We have to steward what God places within us and upon us. And so that's my lesson. I wish I could go back and change it all. I can't. But I can say, you know what? God, help me to be sensitive to your spirit, to your voice, and to be obedient. And to be obedient to what you put on my heart to do. And I encourage the same for all of you who have a relationship with God. He wants to use us. I don't know, because I haven't talked to that friend, how he wanted to use me in that case. But it was important enough for him to prompt me to do it. He wants to use us. And we just got to be available. So I'm saying to the Lord with hands lifted, with arms lifted high, I am available to you, Lord. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Adrienne Ross Show. I appreciate that you tuned in. And I look forward to our next time together. God bless you abundantly. The Adrienne Ross Show was produced and edited in the BMG studio. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod. Find more episodes of The Adrienne Ross Show at thebmgnetwork.com and major podcast platforms. Be sure to tune in regularly. You don't want to miss even one episode.